Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. This is where we cut through the noise, say what most won't say, and give you straight talk, marketing and success strategies to help you work smarter, build mindshare, and grow a business that actually makes you money. This is episode number 357. And if you're listening in real time, we are now in business planning season. See, most agents don't realize this, but the way you finish Q4 is exactly how you're going to start 2026. And if you wait until December to plan, you're already behind. Today's episode is going to break down how to build a real business plan that works, not a fluffy vision board, but a tactical roadmap to crush your goals, grow your income, and own your next 12 months. Let's do this. So, I want to start off by talking about what I'm going to call the 3 pillars of a real business plan. See, my goal is, again, like I just said a moment ago, I want to get you started. I want to get you planned. I want to get you mapped out and have you ready to go. So I want to also say, let's forget the complicated templates and all these plans and spreadsheets and put all that stuff aside for a moment. And understand that a real business plan boils down to these 3 simple priorities. And without actually paying attention to these, without actually knowing exactly what these are, it's next to impossible for you to figure out, what is my plan? What are my targets? How much money do I have to spend? Where can I spend it? Where's it coming from? What else do I have to spend on? What am I trying to achieve? And really what it means is you're getting in a car in the morning with a blindfold on and you're driving with no destination in mind. You can't really see where you're going. You're just kind of going. But that's not a plan. That's chaos. And living in chaos can drive our minds nuts. It can eat up a ton of our time. It can cause us to, not achieve anything we want or take a hell of a lot longer to get there. So again, understanding these 3 pillars is super important. The first one, your income and your expenses. If you don't know what's coming in and you don't know what's going out, how can you budget properly? And if you're just going to spend without actually budgeting properly, what happens when the bills do come in and you start looking at the bank account thinking, I either don't have enough or, oh my God, I didn't realize we're spending so much. Or at the end of the month or the end of the year, when you look back on the entirety of your expenses, again, if you do that, at least you'll have a good sense of what's happening and there won't be any of that, what am I going to call, sticker shock, deer in headlights type of situation. So in order to determine what your income and your expenses are, we need to start off by thinking about what those actual expenses are and making a list. And the simple spot to this, and I said to you again, forget all the templates and the spreadsheets for now. Take a piece of paper, take a pen, and just start writing down, what do you spend on? Start looking at household expenses around the actual mortgage itself. Hydro, heat, water, gas, insurance, groceries. Think about your car. Is there a car payment? There's also gasoline and insurance for that. Is there a toll booth bill? I know for me, we've got what's called Highway 407. Many of you know and many of you won't know what that is. But it's toll booths. We've got to account for that. Cell phone bills, internet, cable. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Then think about all those little subscriptions that you've got that you don't even realize that you've got, but that your credit card gets dinged every single month for that $7.99 or the $22 for Netflix or whatever it is. Mark it all down. Once you know what your expenses are, and really you've got to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, when you make the list and you write down exactly what it is and what the monthly cost looks like, what you then want to do is go back over that list and make sure that you actually got everything on there. Start to really map that out and get a sense of what all of your expenses are. Then what we want to do is we want to break down where our income comes from. So first of all, what was our income in, say, this past year? How much did we actually earn? From there, we want to look at those revenue streams and start to break them down. Go down further. Where are they coming from? How many deals did you do? Not just how much money did you make, but how many deals did you do? Of those deals, how many came through referrals? Being in real estate, we'll talk about how many were buyers, how many were sellers. Is there anything else that you're offering that you're making money on? See, we want to recognize where's the money coming from. We want to understand and break down the exact sources, and then we also want to understand the channel. And the channel being, did it come through, again, a referral? Did it come through a marketing piece that you spent money on that you put out that somebody, maybe an email that you put out and you had a button that people could click on and you got conversion off of that? Were they leads from random strangers? What's bringing in the revenue? We need to actually identify that, okay? And again, with our coaching clients, we call this a deal tracker, and we track every single deal that we do. Where'd they come from? How much was it worth to us? What was the source of it? The channel? And now we can dive in deeper and fully understand, where is the business coming from? Well, let's go back there and get more business. And as you're doing this, you want to make sure you're doing an audit on everything. And really, this whole thing is an audit. But we're looking at the technology, we're looking at the marketing, we're looking at the subscriptions, and then we're going to cut what's not producing return on investment. Okay? Now, this is going to take us into the marketing plan. In fact, let's move into that. The second pillar here is the marketing plan. We'll call it your marketing budget and your plan. Look, our businesses, they live and die by building mind share, right? We're building mind share to get the market share. But if we're not building the mind share, we're not getting people's attention, they're not seeing that we're out there, then there's no interest. They have no desire to take action and actually work with us. So we've always got to be thinking about, what am I doing to build mind share? How am I getting out there? How are people seeing me? How do they know that the doors are open and the lights are on? So when we're talking about a marketing plan, we start with budget. And the question always comes back to, what can you afford to spend on marketing? Now, after you do your income, after you do your expenses, and then we get a sense of where you're at, that P&L, and understanding, am I in the red? Am I in the green? How much money do I have available to me to spend? Once we know what's left over, because if you're in the red, we essentially don't have any money for marketing. When you're in the green, we can now start to understand, well, how much money is available for marketing. And it's not to say that if you're up, thousands of dollars, that we're going to use thousands of dollars for a marketing plan. We may not. It depends on what your situation is. It depends on what the goals are. It depends on what the income's looking like. It depends on what you're actually trying to accomplish. In saying that, once we recognize the red or the green, and let's just assume green, we want to go through and do what's called a gut check. Now, I recognize that doesn't sound all, I don't know. That doesn't sound like it goes very deep. It's like, that's the simplicities of it, but yeah. Because at the end of the day, we all know that when we're spending money, we know how it makes us feel, and we know whether we have the money. We should know whether we have the money to be able to spend on it. Well, what we're doing now is we're doing a gut check, and we're saying, okay, can I afford to spend $100 a month on marketing? And if you're thinking, yeah, could you afford to spend $200 a month on marketing? If you're thinking, yeah, can you afford to spend $400 a month on marketing? If you're thinking, yeah, can you afford to spend $800 a month on marketing? And if you're thinking, whoa, that's a lot of money, and we're just using this as an example, I'm going to ask you, can you do $700? And if you're still hesitating, I'll ask you to do $600. And if you kind of go, yeah, I could kind of do $6, I'm going to ask you if you can do $500. And if you jump out right away and say, yes, I can do $5, then the gut check said that response that you had, that deep down response, said that your number really is, say, $5K. $500 a month, $6K a year. But we've now set a budget. We know what kind of dollars we're working with to be able to actually market your business, to build that mind share. Now, once we understand the dollars, now it's a matter of breaking down the two audiences and the 7 different ways to communicate, right? We've got the people we know and we've got the people we don't know. We've got the 7 ways to communicate: in person, by phone, text message, mail, email, social, and website. We need to leverage all 7 ways for each of the audiences. So again, we're trying to take this $500 and spread it across both audiences to build as much mind share as we possibly can, while keeping in mind, where does my business usually come from? Because we want to spend more there. So for example, when we talk about the 2 audiences, group 1 and group 2, people we know, people we don't know, group 1 is always going to deliver 70 to 90% of our business. Again, referral business. I think I say this every single show. It's a referral business. Always has been, is currently, and always will be. So focus there. Think to yourself, am I doing enough with my contact list? Am I investing enough time, money, resources into pulling out more business from that group of people? We maximize our dollars there. We maximize our return on our dollars there. Then when we've got stuff left over, we start looking at what can I do to start to work group number 2, to be able to pull in more fresh opportunities that I could then start to convert into, from group 2, into group 1. Then from group 1, again, going through my follow-up strategy to make sure that in time I'm setting myself up to get that business. Right? There are so many different channels we can be leveraging. Well, there's 7 different channels we can be leveraging, but then there's a multitude of different micro channels within those that we could be leveraging to connect with more people. We've got to make sure that this marketing budget that we have allows us to maximize our dollars. Then once we understand the dollars, once we understand the 2 audiences, once we understand the 7 ways to communicate, and we've really broken that down, now we can map a campaign and creating work back schedules, right? When am I sending it out? When am I preparing it? Never mind. When am I sending it out? Whether it's mail, email, a post on social, maybe it's making phone calls. There's prep time. There's execution time. And then there's consistency. When are you going to do it again? This is how we build out a proper marketing budget and plan that's going to build a ton of mind share to get us more market share. So we've got to work on that, right? Income and expenses. That's going to give us a sense of what kind of money is coming in, what's going out. That's also going to tell us what we have for marketing. Now, step number 2, we were going to build the marketing budget and plan. And by the way, go to my website if I went through the 2 audiences and the 7 ways to communicate very quickly. Go to mindshow101.com, download the Ultimate Marketing Bundle. It's totally free. It will walk you through what I just mentioned to you with a lot more detail. Now we've got the 3rd pillar here. When we're talking about the 3 real pillars of a business plan, they're your goals. See, goals are the fuel behind every plan. And without them, everything we're doing, like I said, it's like getting in a car, driving with the blindfold on, not really going anywhere. It's random. So we've got to have these goals. And I know people talk about this often and we roll our eyes and we don't mark it down. But without marking it down, we don't have direction. So you've got to be thinking big lifetime goals. Like think big. What is it that I want in life? When do I want it? How much of it do I want? Where do I want to be when I have it? Who do I want to be with? See, if we understand that you've got something that you want in, say, 10 years from now, well, we can look at that and say, okay, again, when, how much, where, with who. Now we've got this target that we can then reverse engineer and literally divide by 10 to understand. What do I have to do on an annual basis to make sure that I'm working towards this 10-year plan that I have? See, we're just reverse engineering everything, right? We're taking the big lifetime goal. I want to have a vacation property in, X, wherever. Some people want it on an island. Some people want it up north in the forest. Some people want to be overseas somewhere. I mean, whatever. I want to have, this vacation property in. I want to be there in the next 10 years. I want to be there with, pick somebody. Obviously, I would pick my wife, Jennifer, the kids. Now that we've got that, and we reverse engineer that into, again, dividing by 10 to get the annual, well, now we're going to take the annual. We're going to break that down to monthly, divide by 12. Now you know how much you have to accomplish this month to get there. Then we're going to divide that by the month by 4 to understand what you have to do each week to get there. Then we're going to divide that by 7 to understand what you have to do each day to get there. And then we're going to divide that into an hourly breakdown so we know what we need to be doing hour by hour in our days in order to take us closer to achieving the goals that we have. Now it's just about execution. Now it's about, again, preparation and planning. It's about taking action no matter how you feel. So your action step here, call it an hour and a half. Maybe even do it over 3 different 30-minute breakdowns, okay? Like 90 minutes total, but 30 minutes, times 3, let's say, depending on what your schedule looks like. Block this time to write out these 3 pillars that I gave you. Okay, again, 1 was income and expenses, 2 was the marketing plan, and 3 are the goals. Keep it simple, but get it written down. This is you well on your way to building out your business plan for 2026. And again, these are the shortcuts. These are the things, part of me, that most people don't want to do. They want to take shortcuts. They don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to spend the time. They just want to wing it. But without a plan, where are you going? Okay, keep moving here. I want to continue with the idea of goals, though, and I want to make sure we understand how they set the tone for everything we do. Okay? I get asked all the time, doesn't mapping every hour make you feel chaotic? In fact, somebody asked me that the other day, and it's funny. I get asked this question. I've had this question asked a lot of times, or people have said to me, like, you can't do that. You can't schedule your time that way. It doesn't work out the way you want it to. And I had somebody ask me that the other day, like live audience. I think we had about 80 people in the room we were training. And a guy asked me that. He says, don't you feel totally chaotic? Like you're just bouncing around from one to the next without any relax time. I said to him, absolutely not. I said, in fact, all of the relaxed time, all of the fun, because don't forget with the goals, we're not just talking about business. We're talking about life. So I've got everything mapped out into a schedule so I know where I'm going, when I'm going, how much time I'm spending, why I'm doing it. And what it does now is it allows me to focus in the moment, on the moment. It's a great feeling. In fact, it's a much better feeling than if I'm running around without any type of plan, constantly go, no idea what I'm trying to actually accomplish. I'm just doing things. Then as I finish things, more people add more things on, and all of a sudden I've got no times attached, no actual plan. Everything keeps piling up, and that feels chaotic. So yeah, if I can look at my schedule and I can see that everything's mapped out, and I can see that I've got family time, and I've got fun time, and I've got business time in there, and I got personal time in there. I mean, I wouldn't call it chaos, but if we want to use the word just for the fun of it, do we call it organized chaos? I mean, does life equal chaos? I mean, think about how much we all have to do in a day and how many times we're being pulled at a million different directions and how many hats we wear. Yeah, it's chaos. Hence why mapping every hour is the most important thing we can do, because now we're leveraging time and we're empowering time to manage us. And time is the one thing we cannot buy back. It's the one currency that we do not have the ability, no matter what, to buy back. And if we can agree there's never enough time, then why would we waste what little time we have running around without any direction? When you plan, you take control. You stop chasing squirrels, bright, shiny objects, and you know exactly what you're supposed to be focusing on, what actually matters in your day. And like the real bigger picture here is, again, you stop just running in circles, and you actually start building momentum towards the life that you actually want. So take a piece of paper, okay? And again, forget the spreadsheet for now. Forget all the apps and the trackings. Just take a piece of paper and write out, again, what do you want? How much do you want? When do you want it? Where do you want to be? And who's there with you? Like I said, then reverse engineer the whole thing annually, monthly, weekly, daily actions. And one day at a time. Today, map tomorrow. Okay, so at some point in your day today, just make sure you map out tomorrow. Then wake up and get shit done. Don't overcomplicate this. This is not about how you feel. This is not about, allowing emotions to take over. This is about being strategic the entire way through. So again, your action step here is to start mapping your goals now. They do take time to truly settle in. Like you've got to figure out, I write it down, I put the piece of paper down, I look at it, I see what it is, I sort of quantify it, how much do I want, when do I want it? Then let it sit. Go back to it tomorrow. Is that what I want? Do I want more of that? maybe I'm a little bit off there. Oh, look what I missed. This is not something that's going to get done overnight. This takes time, and this is why we're talking about it now, not in a couple months from now. Because a couple months from now, it's going to be December. It's going to be too late. Then once you define what everything like this, you sort of feel like you finalize this list. Now you start to lay them into a goal tracker. And again, our coaching clients, those of you listening, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you that are not, we've got exactly what you need to build out a resilient business plan that's going to help you conquer everything you want. This is all part of the coaching program that we offer with Mindshare 101. The one-to-one coaching, the Mindshare Collective group coaching community. We've got the resources you need to achieve the level of success that you want. So again, we take this list we created, we start mapping it into a goal tracker, and then we start breaking them down into these hourly actions. Now we have, again, that roadmap for what our days look like, and our days really look like what they look like based on the fact that, like, we're trying to achieve these goals. So everything is in line. And pro tip here, this is how you stay on track in your day. This is how you get yourself back on track in a day. This is how you get yourself back on track in life. Because you've got a plan. It's like a set of train tracks. The train does not drive beside the tracks. The train does not drive on the roads wherever it wants to and get back on the tracks. The train stays on the tracks. And yes, sure, every once in a while, there might be a moment where the train needs to stop and service, quote unquote, off the tracks. But there's a set of tracks, and those tracks take you to where you want to go. So the idea here is to make sure we can see those tracks, that we stay on them as often as possible. And that's, again, with the calendar, the goals into the calendar, into the daily actions come from. Again, how you stay on track in your day and in your life. Okay, let's take a quick little commercial break here. This episode is powered by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, your engine for consistent mindshare. It's a full suite of marketing tools loaded into an amazingly powerful CRM to keep you organized, to keep you on top of your contact list, and again, to help you build a lot of mindshare so you get more market share. REM Real Estate Magazine, your trusted source of Canadian real estate insights. And Revel Realty, redefining real estate with bold marketing and purpose. Don't forget to grab your free Ultimate Marketing Bundle, which is ideal for you, especially right now during business planning season. Again, I will share that link with you. It is mindshare101.com/free. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. We just talked about time and the power of leveraging time. And I did say that time is the most valuable currency we all have. Yet for some reason, most people spend it like we've got some unlimited supply. I hear it all the time. And I live it too. There is always more to do. I know. Never stops. Reality, though, like we said, we can't make more time. But we can leverage it. So what does that mean? Well, automate. What doesn't need you? Like, what in your business could actually have some more automation to it? I'd say there's parts of that include scheduling. There's parts of that could include automated replies to people in times where you feel like you need to pick up the phone or you feel like you need to get back to somebody so quickly. If we just had a little bit of automation, maybe we could let people know I'm just tied up right now, but I will get back to you. It just allows a little bit of breathing room. Processes with staff. Setting up SOPs, standard operating procedures within our businesses that help us find other ways to even automate. This way, whether the automation includes technology or it includes just other people doing the process, there's an automatic, repeatable process that, again, we try to do our best to take you out of in some cases. Much the same, we talk about delegate. Now we've figured out what the process is. Can we bring somebody on to do this for us? Can we bring somebody on to help us with this? Example, doing social media is a real quick, easy one always. when it comes to recording videos, editing videos, creating posts, coming up with graphics, coming up with descriptions, getting it posted. It has to be you. Like, you've got to be the one in the video. It's got to be your words, your voice, your face. It's your business. However, you can delegate somebody to help you with this. This comes back to creating the plan. So we worked through a marketing plan. We came up with an understanding of how much money we have and what channels we're going to use. One of those channels would naturally be social media. We've now created an SOP, a standard operating procedure, so that we've got this kind of automated step-by-step we take when it comes to posting or recording, creating content, getting it edited, getting it posted, putting it out there. And now that we've got that, we could say, hey, to whoever, social media company or person, this is what I do. I want you to take this on for me. Now we delegate it to them. Now they can put the process together, and again, we've created some automation. And the other thing we do here when we think about time, we talked about automating, talked about delegating. We always got to think about prioritizing. Our goal in a day, although, again, we wear all these different hats and we've got so many different things to do, we want to prioritize work that drives revenue. We call these IPAs, income-producing activities. Ensuring that in our day, we don't get so bogged down doing so many things that we forget to actually get out there and, build the mind share, but do it through active channels of, calling people, texting people, seeing people, prospecting people. Those tasks require you at all times, and your days need time carved out within them, within those hours, in order to achieve. And if we think back to the goals and we say, I've got all these, vacation property and everything, it all takes money. And of course, we've got a money goal. Well, we need more money, which means we need more action. And those actions are what we call the income-producing activities. So if we want to accomplish all the things we want in life, we need the money. If we want to hit the income goal, obviously, it takes the money. It takes the actions. So again, prioritizing our day in a way that we ensure we're getting these actions done on a regular basis. All day, every day? No. But a part of our day. Because that's, again, what's going to drive the revenue. I mean, think of it this way. If you're spending 3 hours designing a flyer, when you could pay somebody $50 to do it, and use those 3 hours to call, instead, you use the 3 hours to call your database, and you actually get a listing presentation out of it, or maybe you got a buyer that pops their head up and says, yeah, I'm interested in shopping. If you could use those 3 hours to essentially book a deal instead of creating the flyer, you're in good shape. But if you're going to spend the money doing the flyer, you're actually losing money. You're not saving it. But I had to spend the $50. I could have done it on my own. I didn't need to spend the $50. Right. But the time that you used or the time that you spent creating it could have actually generated a ton more money. So again, you lost an opportunity by spending it in the wrong places. This is why it always comes back to time. So as we talk about time, talk about goals, we talk about business planning, we talk about achieving. Here's an action step for you. Write yourself an email. Title it, A Day in the Life of Me. Then in it, I want you to write down everything you do in an average day. Literally, the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed and everything in between. Be real with yourself. What do I do? When do I do it? How long does it take me? Then ask yourself, where am I wasting time? And what could I do to be a more productive version of me? Okay, so you're writing this email and you're being real honest with yourself. You've got to actually write down, this is what I do when I wake up. This is what I do when I go to bed. This is what I do in between. You've got to be detailed because we need to actually recognize where the hour is going. And for some reason, it feels like the morning hours always fly by. We need to be productive at all times. We want to get started on the right foot. We want to be rolling through our days on, at a good pace. We want to know that we're checking things off that need to get done rather than just running around pretending we're doing. And then when you say I don't have enough time, or I'm just out of time, or I don't know where time's going, or I'm overwhelmed, or whatever comes to mind, do you actually know where you spend your time and how much time you spend? See, if you're not tracking your day, when you do the laundry quickly or go grocery shopping quickly or scroll social quickly or check those emails a few extra times, or sit around and just kind of wait for a second, or that lunch that went from could have been 30 minutes, but it was 90 minutes. All these little things, they start to add up, they compound, and all of a sudden you start looking and going, that's where my time's going. So yeah, in order to achieve, because there's so many things going on, there needs some more rigidity. And it's not about being so structured that you can't have fun. No, instead it's about structuring everything you do around the fun. Making sure you got a ton of time for fun and enjoyment of life. While in the same breath, making sure that everything that needs to get done is getting done. And this is how we plan. Okay, so write that email to yourself. Be very real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look at it. Break it down. Be detailed. Start to get a sense of what an average day in the life of you looks like. And then ask yourself, where do I need to adjust? And based on my goals, what am I doing and what am I not doing? Now, as we continue to talk about revenue, marketing, building mind share, moving on here, I want to just touch on the power of reviews and testimonials. This is a really easy win when it comes to building mindshare, and it's something that I really encourage you to have as part of your 2026 plan. Start collecting social proof. These are text messages that people send you telling you how great you were or what you did for them that made them very happy. Emails that they send you, handwritten notes that they send you, comments that they post on a social media feed, DMs. They come from a bunch of different places, a bunch. But the more of them that we actually collect, the more we can show them off, share them with others, help others get over the whole I don't know you, or I don't know if I can trust you, or I don't know what you bring to the table, or I'm just not sure. See, it's one thing for me to tell you how great I am and how good how much I can help you and how many people I've helped. But it's a whole different ballgame when somebody else is telling you how great I am and how much I've helped them and what we've done with them. See, testimonials build trust. Because it's not just us talking about us, but it's many other people talking about us. And when a lot of people are talking about us and a lot of people are saying very similar things, well, now it's, you instill a level of confidence in the person who's reading it. Say, yeah, okay, cool. So it's not just one person, but there's a lot of people that say that this guy's good or this person's good. Guy, girl, whatever. See, this is again us building the trust in a stranger's mind, which then in turn, naturally, it's going to increase conversion. The more reviews, the more testimonials, the more good news we have, the more people are going to be able to say to themselves, I'm confident that this person can help me. On top of that, these testimonials and reviews and good news, this is stuff that we can continue to repurpose over and over and over again. See, these are it's wild because this is one of the most underused tools in most marketing. Especially in real estate, most agents never ask. They just assume. Yeah, they liked me. They liked me. It was good. Yet it's the easiest way to generate credibility before somebody new gives you a call. Now, here's the cool part. When you get these testimonials and you start to pile this all together, and again, think about the different channels, the DMs, the text, the emails, the socials, the comments, the handwritten cards that people send you, you get all of this. We can start to leverage all of this online, in person in a listing presentation, in follow-up, be it on a phone call, a text, an email. There's so many different places that we can leverage these to be able to put them out there so that, again, onlookers, new people who are contemplating could look and say, yeah, you know what, I'm in. I want to work with that person. Think about every single time you work with somebody, ask for a review. Every time you do a deal, ask for a review. Every time you have a positive interaction with somebody, see if you can get a review. Then leverage all of it to continue to build the mind share. Here, you had a listen presentation and you do a great job. You think you've got it, and at the end they say to you, we're just going to think about it. Can we get back to you? They're not ready to make a decision that night. Now, of course, we go through our open-ended probing questions before we take off and leave. But if we've come to that conclusion, we just fast forward for a moment, we've come to that conclusion that they're not making the decision tonight, you can leave what we call a brag book behind so that people can look at it and it can reinforce for them not only how great you were that night at the presentation when you met them, but how many other people have put their confidence in you and have had such an amazing experience. That's a brag book that we leave at a listen presentation. Think about your website. If I go there and there's lots of good news stories from people talking about how amazing you are, and that's some of the first things that I see, again, right away, I've got this impression people like you. So it starts to become a little bit easier for me to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to like you too. So the first step in all of this is just to start really asking for the reviews and then start compiling them. Here, think about online, okay? We think about AI right now, and you go into AI and you ask, and we've talked about this before, the online recon project, but you go in, you ask AI, who's the top, realtor, top business, top whatever in my neighborhood, in my area, in my geographic region, and they give you a list of answers. Why are those people the top? Because they've done the most transactions, the highest volume, they make the most money, they're the most popular? Not necessarily. It's because of the data that they fed to the online channels through content, through videos, through social media strategies, through testimonials, through Google business pages. See, the more data these online channels have, the more data it's gonna gather. And when somebody prompts it through, let's say, an AI channel or a Google search, it's going to come back and say, well, here, I've looked online and here's what I'm finding. So again, we can use these testimonials to continue to even help us with that and raise the level of our brand awareness and in turn build more mind share to again get more market share. So again, step one here, action step one, start collecting the reviews every single time you do something good with somebody, and then start to use those and translate those into, again, part of your IPAs, your income producing activities. And here, I'll give you another one, okay? And we'll close on this one today, but this comes back to your database. And off the top of today's show, we talked about Group 1 and Group 2. And I said Group 1 is 70 to 90% of your business. That's where most of it comes from. So when you're, again, going through your income, expenses, marketing plan, budget, etc., recognize that. Well, most people don't realize how, I don't know, lack of a better word, stale their database gets over time, right? It sits there, you're not doing the follow-ups, you're not tracking the notes, maybe you're not really marketing, you got a bunch of people in there that you haven't spoken to in a while, and now you feel this whole thing of like, oh, I can't talk to them. I mean, it's been so long. Well, it's time to audit your database. Like if you haven't audited yet this year, now's the time. And I know, oh man, this sucks. This little mini project sucks because it's all data. Could be a spreadsheet, should be your CRM, going through contact by contact. The goal here is to make sure that, well, ultimately, we've got everybody that we know, like, and trust in the system. And we've got as much complete contact information for all of them as we can. And that they're set up on a marketing strategy that's going to, again, build a lot of mind share. So I want to give you 3 quick steps right now to simplify this process of auditing your contact list. The first one, and you're going to love this, because again, I tell you, forget the technology, keep the paper and pen. This is similar to what we said before about 3 30-minute time blocks, so a total of 90 minutes. Make a list of everybody you know. Literally, pen to paper. You tonight schedule in 30 minutes for tomorrow morning, 30 minutes for tomorrow evening, and 30 minutes for the next day in the morning. 90 minutes. In each of those 30-minute blocks, you're just going to write first names and last names. Maybe something that stands out for you, but you don't need to go doing a whole like, oh my God, what's their email? What's their social? What's this? What's that? What's their favorite color? No, right now we just need a list of names. We can go back and dig into the rest of the details after. So that list of names, just start writing. First names and last names. Write. Think of everybody you know. Think about anybody you know. And just write. And as that 30 minutes is up, put the pen down, move on to the rest of your day. Get back at it later tonight. Again, 30 minutes. Keep writing. Then at the 30-minute mark, put the pen down, go back the next day, repeat for the third time. You should come away with somewhere around 100 people, probably pretty simply. And no cheating. Don't look at your social. Don't look at your phone book. Don't look at anything right now. First step is just write. Let it come out of your mind. Step 2, compare. Now you go look at your phone book in your phone. Now you go look at all of the past deals that you did. Now you go to your CRM list. And now you determine who's missing. So who do I have on this pen and paper list that was not in my CRM? Who do I have on all of those lists there that I didn't think about on this list? And going through this process, you're basically filtering and you're figuring, was anybody missing anywhere? The third one, social media. Go through your friends list on Facebook. Go through your followers list on Instagram. You can even go through your connections on LinkedIn. And start to determine who also from there is not in my CRM. You see, the CRM list should be the master. So what you did was you started with a pen and paper. You wrote down everything you could. You went over to the CRM. You go, who's on this pen and paper list that's not yet in my CRM? Then you went to the social media and did the same thing. Who is in my social media that's also not yet in my CRM? And look, I get it. We're not, if you got thousands of people on Facebook and thousands of people on Instagram, you may not be putting all of them or many of them into the database. But there's going to be people in those lists that should certainly be in the database. So what you're doing again is you're going at the social media, you're comparing to your CRM, and you're looking and saying who's missing. Think about it. We're mining your database. We're mining your contacts right now without spending $1. We're just trying to beef up and add to group number 1. Again, 70 to 90% of your business comes from that group. When you're following up with that group, when you're building mindshare with that group, you're going to get more market share, period. So go to your social. Who's on social with you that's not yet in your CRM that should be? Your action step here, don't try to conquer this all in a day. Plan your blocks of time. And then as you start to get to that point where you start to update the CRM list, think about, blocking 30 to 60 minutes in a day and try to work through maybe 5 people, 10 people, maybe 20 names. Maybe you're going through to refresh their info. Maybe you're going through to update their info. Maybe you're going through to add in more info. But over the course of the next, 3-4 weeks, you're going to have a very clean and very powerful database that is ready to drive a ton of income for you in 2026. And pro tip, if it would piss you off, if they didn't work with you, then put them on your list. So here's the deal. This season, this business planning season, it's not about just writing goals and then forgetting them. This is about engineering and architecting what the next 12 months is going to look like before it even happens. Your plan is your roadmap. Your goals are your fuel. Your time is your engine, and your database is your gold mine. Do this work now. Start scheduling it now, not in December. Make it your mission to be set and ready to go for 2026 by December 1st. So that your new year won't just be another year. It'll be your best year yet. And of course, hey, if you want to help building the plan, staying accountable, surround yourself with people who are serious about winning, Our Mindshare Collective group coaching community is where it starts. Real strategies, real people, real accountability, real results. Thank you as always to Kits, Rem, and Revels for sponsoring this episode of the Mindshare podcast. Until next time, keep building that mindshare because that's how you get the market share. Thank you for tuning in.